So it's with enormous pleasure that I'm here to chair the official opening of the Foyle Family Justice Centre. And I'm delighted to see this come to fruition for so many reasons and from so many different perspectives, not least as a resident of Northern Ireland. I'm delighted to see this brought to my place. As a human rights lawyer who has been regularly appalled over the years at the number of grave human rights abuses perpetrated daily against so many people, with too little done to protect and restore. And as Judge Michael says, it's about restoring hope, restoring trust. And now as Chief Commissioner of the Human Rights Commission, and the Commission is on a mission to make human rights protection practical and effective. And we look on and see what has been achieved here, and we see that that's exactly what this centre is going to deliver. Domestic abuse robs individuals and families of their most basic rights. It demeans society and should shame us all. So if we're to tackle it once and for all, there must be root and branch reform, and it must be driven by evidence from the experts. And we have those experts here and watching online, and you're going to hear from some of them as well. But I've been enormously privileged to be able to work from them and learn from them. And last night I was talking to someone who actually, I think she broke into premises on Pump Street to give the first refuge to a woman in Derry. So there's a long history of very brave women and expert women. I think what we need to see and what this centre shows us is that there's to be no more idle talking, no more recommendations which just go unfulfilled, and no more promising to care and then doing very little about it. And I'm not criticising anybody else here. I'm acknowledging my own failed attempts and good intentions gone astray over many years. I always wanted to do more, never seemed to quite pull it off, never quite understood why. But luckily, here in Foyle, I said there are people like Mary Brown, who you'll be hearing from later on, decades of experience, expertise, compassion, and she won't mind me saying sheer bloody mindedness, because that's what this is needed. She's made today happen with her colleague and her team that she's built, and with my colleagues on the board of the Justice Centre, which I'm very honoured to be on. And at times, I must confess, I wondered if it was ever going to happen. It seemed too good to be true. But I hadn't reckoned on Mary Brown, and I hadn't reckoned on the women of Pump Street and then Ashley Wood House. And for those of you, some of you may be here today who thought this was unachievable, who thought it was going to be too expensive, too messy, had too little to offer them, perhaps. Their agencies were coping quite nicely, thank you very much. I suggest you listen very carefully to the Voices Forum, which is coming up, and to Mary and her colleagues who will talk to you. And then go sometime to the centre at Bishop Street. When you realise the benefits to be had, I suspect your thoughts will turn very quickly to what incredible value for money, given the savings in costs, how neat and civilised, in fact, a method of service delivery this is, which helps everybody who's trying to provide a service, and what a compassionate community that's available for victims. And then wonder why on earth it wasn't done before, or why there was any reticence, and why aren't we opening more across Northern Ireland? This will not only serve victims and survivors, it will serve those agencies who sign up, and they'll be sharing space, and that's critical. But they'll be sharing knowledge and support, getting to know each other. They don't have to pick up the phone, they don't have to walk down the street or further. And ultimately it will serve this city and beyond. It's the first in UK and Ireland. And again, that is a credit to those people like Judge Michael Home and Mary Brown, whose vision this was many years ago. We know domestic abuse is the most prevalent of all crimes, and we heard just in the last couple of days just how many people are affected by domestic abuse. It has a devastating impact on those who suffer, but also on society, and so it demeans us all and should shame us all. Anyone who works in the field will tell you something had to change, and it had to be fairly dramatic. Now, I genuinely believe, having seen the people who are going to be operating and running this centre, this is the thing that will make that change. I'm going to let you, others more expert than me, tell you more about it in due course and how it's going to work. This is a terrific programme. I'm really pleased. I'm very honoured to have been asked to chair it. I feel a little bit of a fraud standing here with so many faces in front of me who've done all the work. Let's get on with it. I think rather than listening any more to me, we're going to start with some video messages